Right, second attempt at recording this video. We're here to discuss Tottenham Hotspur, basically, and the absolute shambles it is over there at this moment in time. And as you can see, as I said in the first video, it's not quite going to land the same way, but we're joined by an alcoholic in Keith, who is a Spurs fan. And Spurs has driven him to be an alcoholic, by the way, if you didn't know. And we're here to discuss Spurs, basically. The overall question to you, Keith, my friend, is: what is a Spurs fan's perspective, or your perspective, basically, in your opinion, on what's going wrong at Spurs? Because I'm quite interested to hear a Spurs fan's perspective on this from an outsider looking in at the club. And obviously, we all watched that 3-0 defeat against United, unless you didn't, in which case, you're probably lucky, to be fair. But Spurs were absolutely shambolic. At this moment in time, they're in a bit of a mess. So, Keith, the floor is yours.
Well, what's wrong at Spurs? Everything. Everything. Top to bottom. Boards to reserve keeper, everything. Everything's wrong. Nah, okay, I don't hate Brandon Austin, it's just a figure of speech, but I don't know where to start. Okay, well, first of all, I'll start with the game today. 3-0 loss. And look, a 3-0 loss, I'm a Spurs fan, I've seen a lot of them. I've seen a lot of heavy losses, especially against the so-called other Big Six, or whatever you want to call them. But today, it was different. It was a complete lack of anything. No passion, no effort, no nothing. I don't know, we've got a manager that really, really doesn't inspire. Especially doesn't inspire the fans. You know, the man doesn't make substitutions. And then today he tries to make an early substitution and he takes off probably the only player that looked like he was going to do anything in Lucas Moura to bring on Stephen Bergwijn, who has, I think it's 1 goal in 2 years. You know, something
like that.
Stupid like that. And look, Bergwijn, blah, blah, blah. 30 million player. Can't score, can't set up goals, can't do nothing. And we've got a lot of them. A lot of them. Awful recruitment in the last few years. Absolutely awful. And that comes from the top. Comes from not being willing to put the few extra million on the table for those top players. I can't pinpoint one thing because everything's wrong. As I said, the boardroom, the manager is. I'm not a fan.
We'll start with the manager. We'll break down the problems in this video, right? So we'll start with the manager. We both watched this the United match earlier on, right? And as I said in the first video, when I watched it, I can't count on two hands the amount of times I turned to my brother and said, I honestly have never seen Spurs look worse in my life. They play with no grit. They didn't want to go forward. There was no enthusiasm. There was no patterns of play. They just looked really lost. And to be fair, the third goal for Rashford, I think the defending for that goal from Dyer and Romero in particular, the positioning to let Rashford throw on goal, I think just summed up the entire Spurs performance and overall where they are as a club at this moment in time. So yeah, I mean, that would start off with the manager then. Thoughts on Nuno Espirito Santo? First of all, would you sack him right now?
Definitely.
After 10 games in the season. Obviously, I know he's been poor, but they're 2 points off top four.
The last manager to do this bad in his first 10 games, I believe, was Christian Gross, and that was 97-98. And for those who don't know, the 90s were a pretty dark time to be a Spurs fan. You know, there was near relegations, etc. And Gross was an awful manager. I think he lasted. He didn't last very long, anyway. Look. Personally, never wanted Nuno. I really wanted Conte. I really wanted Pochettino. I don't know. There was other managers. I wanted Ernesto Valverde, really high on my list. I wanted him, but I wasn't particularly fussy. What I wanted was a good manager we could be relatively defensively solid, but also have that kind of attacking prowess, that will to get forward, basically. That we didn't really have under Mourinho, but I can understand that because Mourinho's has gotten such a big name in football for his success, and he's never really been at Inter Milan, at Real Madrid. He has played a more expansive kind of way, but you know, he's always been more so known for his system going backwards. So I could understand that. It's a shift of tone from what we were playing under Pochettino. A very defensively solid, a very high pressing, high energy, lovely, beautiful football. And
so just really quick, what was your opinion on Mourinho when he was there?
I backed Mourinho completely. I don't know how anyone could work under Levy, and I think that's the main reason why we've landed Nuno. but I think Pochettino did a great for years. But I think Mourinho especially, like, I don't know how that man could work under Levy, because even though Mourinho is, as some would say, a checkbook manager, I don't like to call it that, but he can improve players, etc. But people say, oh, he didn't succeed at Tottenham because he doesn't have hundreds of millions. No manager can succeed at Tottenham. It doesn't matter if you give them 10 million or 20 million, because that's all they're going to get from Levy. You know, so it's a case of, I bagged Mourinho, but at the same time, I never really understood the appointment, because if you're not going to back Daniel Levy, if Daniel Levy is not going to back Jose Mourinho, then realistically, who is Daniel Levy going to back ever?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you have one of the greatest managers of all time ready to take your club back to a level of competing for trophies that we were with Pochettino. You know, we were there, we were competing, we didn't get over the line, but we got very close. I know obviously people will say, oh, they put the pressure on, blah, 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 but we were a very good team. Teams were scared of us. Like, I'm sure when you came to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this season, you were not half as afraid as you would have been going to White Hart Lane under Pochettino.
You're spot on there.
Even going there under Mourinho, I'd say you were definitely a bit like, I don't know, because, you know, great managers, and they make you fear. Pochettino made everyone fear us. He did.
Now that you say that, there was actually one point I was going to make in this video, and that is, I was thinking during the game today, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like Spurs lost a little bit of their soul when Pochettino got sacked. I just felt like there was a bit of an aura around Pochettino, you know, playing this great football with players like Kane, Ali, Son, Dembele, Vertonghen, Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, etc. And since then, I feel like Spurs have kind of just, I don't know, kind of just gone into their shell a little bit. Not even gone into the shell, it's hard to explain the words for it, but you know what I mean. Basically, they're not the same as they were back then under Spurs, with that feel-good factor, I suppose you could say.
I can totally understand. Pochettino had to go at that stage. He did. He wasn't backed, which was the biggest problem, which again comes from upstairs. But we got Mourinho in. Like, I get it's a complete change of club culture to bring Mourinho in, but it's a change that we had to be willing to make to win something. Obviously, but if you bring him in, you have to back him. You can't bring Mourinho in and then just, you know, work with what you got. Work with the fellas who threw Pochettino under the bus, and then when you sack Mourinho, tell Nuno work with the players that threw the last two managers under the bus, Pochettino and Jose Mourinho. Do you know that's not how you run a successful football club.
What you said in the first time you recorded this actually resonated with me a little bit, is when you said Daniel Levy put out a video, I think it was on social media, at the start of this season, saying that we're going to go back to this attacking brand of football or whatever, and then he goes in the points, a conservative manager who's basically not even a B-Tech, probably a C-Tech Mourinho at best. So overall, I think it's clear to see from what we're both gathering here in this conversation is that every single problem that Spurs have at this moment in time stems from the board.
Well, look, do you know any other club that's ever gone 18 months without signing?
That's a good point. Now that you bring that up, I forgot that happened.
18 months without a signing, and that 18 months, it's not like it was 18 months when there was a transfer ban, or we were kind of languishing in mid-table or something. That 18 months... And
even we signed a player during our transfer ban.
That 18 months, you know, that was when we're in the Champions League. We're trying to take that next step to fight for the title. I guarantee you, those 2 years, the year Leicester won the league and the year Chelsea won the league, I will stand by this statement, we had the best first 11 players in the Premier League. In both of those seasons, we had the best first 11 in the Premier League. No one had a better first team than us.
I'm not really gonna argue against that, to be fair. I was trying to, believe me, but I can't really.
But I would say 7 to 8 teams had better benches than us.
So we'll switch it up a little bit, right? So basically, what we said in the first video that we haven't said now is the whole Harry Kane situation. As I said in that video, the first time we recorded this, Nuno has managed to only. This team has only scored 9 goals in the first 10 Premier League games this season, with arguably, you would say, on their day, 2 of the best attackers the Premier League has seen in the last, 5 to 10 years. Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. As we said, he hasn't got the best out of either of those two. and you said something. You were going on a bit of a rant about Harry Kane. So if you want to just go and go down that road again, that would be helpful for all the viewers, I'm sure. Let's just say he's not in your good books at this moment in time.
No, basically what I said the first time we tried to record this was I never, ever want to see Harry Kane put on a Spurs shirt again. Because, since the summer, since he absolutely disgraced us. Look, right, okay, I'm going to just put this out of the way first. I love Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale left us in a bit of a awful way. He forced his way out, but Gareth Bale went to Real Madrid and all this kind of thing. He went to the biggest club in the world, and the deal was done basically when he decided not to come to training because, Real Madrid had basically said, "You're signing no matter what the money is." He did in the end, of course. World record fee. He did. And Gareth Bale, at that point, to me, was third best player in the world. I was heartbroken when he left, but do you know what I mean? He's going to Real Madrid. I understand that, obviously. Harry Kane absolutely disgraced himself with the way he went about it. The Gary Neville interview really ticked me off.
That was mad, actually.
It was... that's a disgrace. Yeah, it was a joke. And then to not come back for training, and then to say that he didn't have to be back for training, that he'd been giving extra time off. No, you hadn't, mate. Stop lying. Basically, stop lying to the fans. We're not mugs, but his performances this season, I say performances, it's like putting a statue on the pitch every time he steps on it. I've seen people today talking about Varane, incredible. I don't know who actually got man of the match. Do you know who got man of the match?
I think it was Ronaldo, but I think they gave props to Varane as well.
Yeah, no, because I heard Gary Neville say something about Varane was great, and I've seen people say Maguire looked good again, and Lindelof was good. I'm sorry, but they're playing against a statue. The bloke won't move. He refuses to move. The first goal comes from we clear a ball on the edge of the box, and Harry Kane just moves out of the way and lets Maguire take the ball. It's absolutely ludicrous how he can command.
I have watched Spurs a few times this season, and Harry Kane looks disinterested. It actually looks like he'd rather be anywhere but playing for Spurs, to be honest.
Absolutely. He's a disgrace. He is an utter disgrace. Fans abused Christian Eriksen. I never did, because Christian Eriksen was an incredible player for us. But fans abused him for a year after the whole thing after the Champions League final. They did. Because he wasn't trying. Whatever the fuck, right? He put in 20 times more effort than Harry Kane has this season. And maybe it's because I'm not looking at it through English rose-tinted glasses. Like a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Harry Kane did a small bit of running about today. He ran a kilometre today. Whoopee, well done." No, I'm not looking at it.
That's why he gets away with it. Because he's the star boy for England, really, isn't he? He's the golden boy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why he gets away with it. Let's be honest
think
here.
even the English section of our fan base now, which is obviously the majority, even they're starting to see through Kane. And look, there's other players I don't want to see play for Spurs again for different reasons, because they're not good enough. But as I say, Harry Kane, disgrace. I don't want to see him. It's painful watching him play for Spurs because he doesn't care. And do you know, I actually think Kane's, and do you know, I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, I think he's finished completely. And I know he'll probably go to another club and he'll score 15, 20 goals a season. But Harry Kane will never get near what he was in 2016, 2017. Again, never. In those 2 years, incredible. One of the best players in the planet. Never get near them again.
Well, on that note, I think we will. I have one more question, basically. So I think we've covered everything we need to cover with regards to the problems at Spurs at this moment in time. So I'm going to put a scenario on you right now, okay?
Ooh.
Daniel Levy, obviously, if I say, what would you do with Spurs, whatever, you're going to say sack the board or whatever, do you know? Say, for example, you have no choice, right? Okay, what do you do with, obviously, you'll sack Nuno. How do Spurs go forward to actually be somewhat successful, like they were under the Pochettino era, under Daniel Levy? What do they have to do in the next few years to reach that point again, or even get close to it, or even just be an enjoyable team to watch again, in your opinion?
I don't know. A manager in a similar ilk to Pochettino, but you have to back him. You know, you have to back him. Get rid of the deadwood. And I know it's not that easy, but and by deadwood I mean Dele Alli, Harry Winks, Harry Kane, Ben Davis, plenty more players. Do you know what I mean? I think we really need to completely just rebuild the squad. Rebuild it around a core set of players. Brian Hill, Christian Romero, Oliver Skip, Emerson as well, maybe. couple other players just around the squad as well. But managerial wise, probably looking at a young, exciting manager. As a big watcher of La Liga, I would like Marcelino. He would be good, I think.
He was linked, I think, in the summer, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was ever going to happen. I would have loved it to happen. He was quite high up on my list, actually, of managers I would have wanted. Yeah, there's a couple more managers that spring to mind, but really and truly, and I know a lot of people say Graham Potter, and I really didn't want Graham Potter in the summer. But I have to say, what he's doing at Brighton now is very good. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of Graham Potter.
I wouldn't be totally against it.
So, to summarise, it's sacknuno.com. It's sacklevy.com/bald.
Yeah, please.
And so I think that's where we're going to leave it. So cheers for hopping on, Keith. It's good to have a Spurs fan's perspective on the channel for a change. And leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll talk to you later.